Good morning. In the attached video, I am going to attempt to walk you through the use of the lesson plan builder on TaskStream to give you some ideas about which categories we'll use and how we'll use them, and which categories maybe you don't need to use. So I hope you find this video helpful. For our curriculum projects, we're going to be using the lesson unit and rubric builder that you will find on your home page of your TaskStream account. So as you look on TaskStream, you will notice up here in the upper part of the menu a Lessons and Units Rubrics button. Choose that button. If for some reason that button does not appear, you will need to go to the My Account area and turn it on under the Teaching Productivity Tool Pack. If yours says disabled, go ahead and click Enable and enable that. Mine's enabled, so I'm going to go back. Then the Lesson Unit and Rubric button should show. We'll select that. We're going to then use the Lesson Builder. So we'll go to the Lesson Builder, choose that option, and here's where we can build a new lesson. I don't show any active lessons because I haven't created any in this account yet. So I'm going to create a title first. So I'll type in the title of my lesson. For right now, I'm just going to call this Curriculum Project 1. Under the format, we want to choose the basic lesson. There's a little more advanced format here that you'll use later on when you make lessons for your methods classes, but we'll use the basic lesson plan right now. And we just then hit the gold Create New button. What this does is opens up a template that just gives us blanks to fill in. And what I'd like to do now is go through and show you which of those blanks we're going to fill in for our projects that we're going to build. We'll not use all of them. First section here is the Vital Information section, and you'll notice that this Vital Information section is already filled in with your name, so we'll leave that, of course. Then we'll choose the Subject button, and the subject allows us to select the content area that we've decided to use for this project, and that is dependent upon the topic that you chose. You will choose the topic for this project. I'm just going to choose agriculture because I'm an old high school ag teacher. Then you will choose the topic or unit of study, and this opens up just a plain dialog box where you have the option to type in some description. So my topic, I'm going to say choosing fertilizer. And you can put as much as you want, up to 30,000 characters into that window. We'll save that. We'll choose the grade level. I'm going to say this is a 10th grade lesson. Under the objective area, we're going to put in two things. There is a place for us to choose a standard on this template, but we don't like the standard selector that we use there, so we're going to ask you to choose your standards from the list that we gave you previously. So in the objective area, we're going to put in both the standard and the objectives. So I'm just going to type in the word standard here, but here's where you could cut and copy and paste the standard that you've chosen from the standards window, and then I would have my objectives. And of course we'll write these objectives in the ABCD format. So I'm just going to do a shorthand. I do the A part, the B part, and the C part, and the D part, and I'll include all of the objectives that I have. We're going to require that you have at least 2 objectives, but you can have up to 4. If you get more than 4, it probably means your lesson is too large and it's more than you could teach. We're looking at developing materials that a teacher could use to teach in 1 or 2 class periods, 3 at the very most. So I'm going to type in the number of all of the objectives that I have created for this lesson, and then I'll save and close this window. The summary section, what we want to do here is list those things that we want to have as a part of the summary for our lesson when we wrap up. Beginnings and endings are the most important part of lessons sometimes, because they set up the students to understand what they're going to be learning, and then they also reinforce what we wanted them to learn. So in here I would just type a little paragraph to remind me as I wrap up this lesson, what is it that I really want my students to remember when they finish this lesson. Whatever you would like to have for your wrap-up part. I'll close that. So that includes the vital information part of my lesson. Then we're going to come down to the next section that's in this template is the implementation. We're not going to worry about implementation, because that's going to be the job of the instructor when they teach this lesson. So we're just basically going to leave this area blank, and we'll move on down to the materials and resources section, and we'll work on that. Under instructional materials, this is where we're going to attach our lesson materials that we create using the other tool that we've selected, the Smartboard, Inspiration Software, PowerPoint, or whatever we've selected from this time. So we're going to create our materials in that tool, and then we're going to open up the instructional materials window. We're going to go to the attachment area, and then we'll browse and attach it just like we were attaching it to as an attachment to an email, or attaching it to Blackboard, or you've probably all done those things, where we will type in a name for our project. We'll browse our computer, find a project that we would like to include here, and if we want to put a description we can, and we'll hit add file. The computer will add that as an attachment, list it as an attachment here, and then we're done. We can close that window. So the instructional materials is where we're actually going to put the project that we've created using the other software. Under resources, we're going to put a couple of things here. The first window that will open up will be under materials and resources, where we're going to list the non-web resources that we're going to use. So maybe I found a textbook, so I type in whatever the name, enough bibliographic information about that textbook that someone who might be using this lesson and wants to go find that textbook would be able to find it. If you're using technology resources, let's say I'm using an Excel spreadsheet to balance my fertilizer, I would choose that. That's optional, and a place to fill in other information if you need. All of this is optional. The only thing you have to put in is your optional resource, or your non-web-based resource. The next thing we need to do is add our web-bibliography that we've created using our word processor. That will be added under the Attachments tab. So we'll go up to the Attachments tab, give it a name, web-bibliography, Chooser a file. This is just like attaching any other file that we might want to attach to our lesson plan. We click Add File. And our bibliography will then be available when we want to use it. We're not going to use the standards and assessment area, so once again we'll leave that area blank, and we're ready. We've completed this project. So that should show you the areas that you need to fill in on this template. The system saves it automatically. If you use this save as a copy example, you're going to, or a button, you're going to get a second copy of this lesson. So you can just go back to your home page. The next time you come back to your lesson and unit, lessons, units, and rubrics area and go to the lesson builder, you will see that this project that we just created is listed, and if when we want to work on it some more, we can come back in and edit, and we can change any of those sections of the project that we want. So that wraps up this part of this lesson. I'm going to sign off now. A little later I'll put together a little tutorial that shows you how we actually turn this in on TaskStream.